Thank you. Technology's hard.
Oh, come on, now coming from you, no way.
If we don't first succeed, try again. I guess if we fail our deeds, try again until we succeed. So I kept sending them links.
Just before something like this, or just before a high-powered pitch, all of a sudden your fingers are like thumbs, and windows don't open, and you can't spell.
Oh, your internet goes down.
Yeah. The worst thing that can happen is this.
Oh no.
Yeah, that would be the worst
I need
thing.
that app.
Well, we have expected. We were not sure what to expect from you, Thomas, today. If a robot was going to show up in your place or not. So we'll see.
That would never happen, ever.
He said that when we were talking on the phone, is I can make it, because just so everyone knows the story, we had other panelists, and she's Jewish, so she has Passover, and she wasn't able to do it. So I sent out messages to 7 people on Thursday, and I got 7 yeses. I'm like, man, this is too easy. So I had to pick three people. And usually we're going to mix it up a little bit and have more business along with LinkedIn and life coaches, and because they all kind of go together because we're as a functioning pair. But I couldn't wrap my head around it. So I said, you know what? I'm a LinkedIn influencer. We're going to do LinkedIn, and we're going to get 3 different LinkedIn influencers that do slightly different things. So I was really excited because I was able to kind of pair up. And we all have our own flavors and stuff. And we got some good questions on there, by the way, too.
Oh, good. I didn't see them unless.
Oh, yeah, we weren't going to share it with you.
We'll put you on the hot seat just like that.
We'll like point at you. And
I don't know anything about LinkedIn.
That sounds so nice. Oh, tell me about that again, please.
Sexy voice guy.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, if that's okay, Ed. Will I be doing that? All right. So
I promise I'll be good.
Yeah.
A little bit.
All right.
Yeah, everybody should be able to share their screen.
All right. Instead of my my Google slide presentation, I decided to save it as a PDF, so there won't be any jittering going on. Because once we load these Google documents and all these different things and stuff, it becomes a little.
We need to show anything? We don't have presentations.
No, you don't have to. No. So what I've done was I set it up so we can kind of go along with this. We're going to talk about all the people that are supporting it, and I have a few slides that we can have talking points on, and there's some time for you guys to talk as well, and then we have questions. So the show is I think it's fairly well organized for a crazy Friday for me. So I put this whole thing together in about, I want to say, an hour.
I thought it was like 15 minutes.
Yeah. It looks good, though. Come on now. It looks good.
You've done a beautiful job, Troy. You should be proud.
I'm very good at what I do.
Who else could do that in 15 minutes?
No, I could not do that.
Not me.
I can do. It took me about an hour and a half to get all this stuff together. So, I think it's 3 minutes after the hour. And Ed, you are the commentary person.
Yeah, I'm gonna defer the guest because I'm having a hard time with last names here. And I just went on Thomas's profile to hear him pronounce his last name, and he refused to do it.
The little button on his.
Yes, that's how I cheat to figure out how to pronounce people's last names. So I started with him first.
I'll talk about the panelists then.
Yeah, you get the panelists, I get everybody else. They're lovely panelists. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and then after we talk about everyone else, we'll come back to the panelists and have them to have a talk about themselves and what they do and how they do things differently. So we have 3 great panelists today. We have Catherine Nuñez, and she was so nice to actually call me back, and I looked at her profile, really liked it, and she's about attracting more opportunities and confidently taking action. So we have her, and then we have Thomas. And then Jean-Michel. Are you adding to the links to the chat?
I'm doing my job.
Thank you. And then we have Thomas Heelfrich, excuse me. You have a huge network, and I have some specific questions on that later on, but you mainly deal with content strategy and social media engagement with using AI. So I'm guessing there is a way to reduce time and expand great content, which is really an important part of the LinkedIn life cycle.
Sounds like Thomas is the leader of the robots that are taking over the world.
Yeah, he's doing something right,
I don't know about that, but I like robots. They're fun.
I like robots too. I love AI.
I will not publicly state we use any automation on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, you should. Yeah,
allowed.
well, this is gonna just be recorded for YouTube, so you'll be okay with this. And it's so we have Jess Tiffany, and he has a very impressive network as well, and he actually excels through joint ventures and sales. And I'm guessing he has some systems similar to what I do. So I'd like to kind of discuss some of his strategies with that too. And so I thought it was a good balance between everyone here. And thank you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everyone showing up. This means a lot to me. Well, a lot to us.
Nice work putting it together, man. Really amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, yeah, you make me want to use Loom now. I have Loom FOMO.
Well, we do have sponsors, and I cover the sponsors' first names because there's a couple of them that last names I don't know how to pronounce, or I'll screw them up. So we'll go with first names, and we've seen them all before. These are the usual suspects. Jennifer Glass. She was supposed to be here as a panelist, but because of Passover, she wasn't able to make it, and so she'll be on sometime soon, I'm sure. We have Karan, who's been with us before many times. Pat, who is a regular follower of us, but very supportive also. Pat has been extremely supportive of our show, as have all of our sponsors. James, and then the next one. James has got a really good podcast. Troy was on his podcast just this month, I think.
Yeah, really
a couple weeks ago.
There. Yeah. I try to get on someone's podcast once a week because I don't like paying for marketing because I'm cheap. So I think going on other people's shows is always a great way to expand your market and kind of make it a little more fluid. So
all you podcast hosts out there, just know that Troy's too cheap to pay for advertising unless he wants to get on your show. This is for free promotion. Yeah. We have Gary, we have Chicky, we have Jason. Chicky helped us build our community. Jason has also been a regular supporter of our show. Robert and Selena, and those are some of our original sponsors that are still sponsors of ours, which is really nice. They've stuck around. They haven't gotten bored with us.
Oh, but just to mention, I know I was going to interrupt, but I am. Robert has this award-winning book. It's like a #1 bestseller through Amazon, and it's going in its 3rd version, and I'm in it, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Is that another one of those self-promotion things that you do that doesn't cost any money?
He just asked me. He said, Troy, I have a bunch of contributors that are writing a page on my book. Would you want to do it? My answer was yes.
Yes, especially since he's sold a lot of books in the past.
Yeah, he has a history. It's like guaranteed bestseller. So
awesome.
Robert's actually a great person to know as well.
We need to get him on the show, actually.
You know what? That's a good idea.
There's a lot to say. But tonight, or today, I should say, is our expert panelists. Oh, I guess we should talk about the host. There's Troy Hippolito. I know these guys. Well, Jean-Michel's last name has always been a challenge for me. We have Troy. We have Jean-Michel, the LinkedIn rocket scientist, the French Texan, and then we have myself, Ed Forto, who hails out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, Mr. Email Deliverability. But today is not about us. It's about our guests, our guest panel of experts. They were very kind to agree to join us at the last minute. It's really hard to find this level of experts that are kind enough to come on and share their expertise and answer questions at the 11th hour. But these guys were gracious enough to agree and come on, and we're very happy to have all three of you here.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we'll take a few minutes on each individual, and just so we can hear a little bit about what you do and what makes you tick. And I was wondering, ladies, wondering if Catherine go first, ladies first, if you can give us a little bit, a hint of what you do and how you do it.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for needing me last minute. I started my whole speaking career actually with being a substitute. Someone said, I need you on a panel. Would you talk on this? And that's actually what kicked off my entire speaking career. So anytime someone has a cancellation, I would tell somebody, take it and do it and jump right in. So my name's Catherine Nuñez, and I'm the founder of the Social Selling Agency. And my whole goal is to help people understand who they serve, what business problem they solve, and what the outcome of working with them is. And I want to make sure that they can articulate that, and that they can articulate that online through a nice visibility strategy. And my clients are all B2B solopreneurs, and what better place to be than
LinkedIn.
There you go. That was your cue. LinkedIn. So that is what I do and who I serve.
Awesome. Awesome.
Can I say that Catherine has a really good camera? You came in so sharp.
Would you like to know about my Logitech Brio camera?
I think now we know.
I want to.
Yeah. Did you get yours? I got mine. I got Logitech as well, but I got it from Walmart. So I don't know if they have different levels or whatever. But,
you know, I have a video editor on my team, and I just said, send me what I need to buy, and I just copied it and put it in Amazon and bought it. So I didn't even do the research.
Keep it simple. That's always a good idea, you know. So next on our list right here is Jess Tiffany, and which you have a very interesting name, you know. So people think you have two first names and stuff, but how has that contributed to your success? No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, I'm Jess Tiffany, the guy with two girl names. But anyway, so I did get teased a little bit as a child, but it's my mom's fault. I blame her. So, but anyway, so I run two companies. One's MNU Digital, or full service digital marketing agency, but we do specialize in LinkedIn because I ended up writing a Amazon international bestseller on LinkedIn. And so that's kind of why we do a lot of that. So we do Done For You, as well as helping with preeminence, positioning, all that fun stuff. And then we also have Stars Press, which we help people become best-selling authors on Amazon, USA Today, or Wall Street Journal, based on how many books we can sell. And but I do have at mnudigital.com, we do have a free LinkedIn marketing cheat sheet you can grab if you'd like. And Stars Press, we have a free LinkedIn assessment you can take. But I really appreciate you having me on the show today.
Awesome.
What I'd like to ask you, Jess, is how did you manage to publish over 200 books on Amazon? And what do you do with the rest of your life?
Well, I didn't write 200 books. I just published them. So I can't take credit there for too much of it. All I did was put them online. And we started out with books that were out of copyright, and republishing them, updating them, all that stuff. And then we moved into hiring writers, and then eventually I finally wrote my own as well. So that's kind of how that progression happened.
Well, how long did it take you to write your own book, and was it geared towards marketing in general, or was it more specific on the LinkedIn leg? Yeah,
that book was specifically about LinkedIn. The first 10,000 connections, and kind of how the process went, how I got that, the thought process behind it, the strategies, all that stuff. Now we're well over 30,000. But that's kind of. But yeah, I cheated though. I always tell people I cheated. I had this software called Dragon Naturally Speaking, and I literally talked my book into existence. I didn't write my book for 2 years that I wanted to write. And then finally I sat down with the software, and I think I had the first 5,000 words done within one day after I.
Oh my goodness. You know, smart people are so lazy.
Yep.
You know, they have this software called Jasper AI.
Yeah.
Has anyone used that?
I
I
saved
have,
it
yeah.
on my desktop as a get to it. So no, I haven't used it yet, but it's here. So
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, it writes for you now. You don't even have to write your own blogs anymore.
Well, that leads into Thomas right there, because he's the AI nerd, and I'm sure that he'll has some information. He has a huge network, and we'll get to we'll get to questions on how did you build the network and how do you use it and stuff like that. But tell us a little bit more about yourself, Thomas.
Yeah, thanks for having me and the other guests on. I appreciate the opportunity. So Thomas, AI nerd Helfrich. It's I bought it at AInerd.com, I think for $8 on GoDaddy. That's how I went that direction. But what I really kind of solve in a problem that we do at Instarel is it just takes too much time to create content and engage with it. And you're always guessing at the strategy. So we leverage a bit of AI to do content writing plus people. So we use every AI writing tool in the market plus our own access to GPT-3 and GPT-J. But that's Jasper, that's Craftly, that's Hey Friday to AI-Writer, all of them. Because you.
Well, I heard of Friday. That's the guy, the computer system on Iron Man, right?
That was Jarvis. Jarvis. That's become Jasper, I believe. But AI writing accelerates it, but you do need a human in the loop to finish it. So that's kind of where the technology's at. But after you've written content, you got to engage with it. So there's strategies and there's ways to do that at scale. So I used to be about 30 hours a week in social media, and now I only spend about an hour a week, but I have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week coverage in all social media accounts. And so that's how I've gotten to be able to grow a big network, is because I'm always networking and always engaging. And my call to action is a Calendly. And so I meet with a lot of people from various technologies everywhere. So there's a really more advanced way to network, write content. I do hundreds of post on, and I write for Forbes, Entrepreneur, AI Journal, Swiss Cognitive, a handful of others, and do hundreds of posts, hundreds of articles every month.
That's a lot of information to absorb. I'm going to ask you these things again, probably.
Totally good. We got an hour.
Maybe
Awesome.
if you say what
all of a
you
sudden
said
we have
3 times,
content
we'll pick it up.
FOMO, right?
Content FOMO. That's gonna be a blog article. You look out. Here it
That's
comes.
a t-shirt. Yeah.
It's probably already written with AI.
Yeah,
Done.
that's a whole business in itself, right?
On all platforms.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Well, I'm going to try to find my my presentation again. What happened to it? As I clicked on this, it went away.
Technology's hard. They say
There you go. Slides back in there.
AI is easy. AV's hard.
Let me see. Here you go. All right, and I will share. Try to share my screen again.
Probably just read them one question at a time, Troy.
Well, what I wanted to do is kind of go through a couple of interesting things that I kind of put up to kind of lead to a conversation, and then we can kind of get to the questions. So I wanted to make sure that everyone kind of knew our audience, and we kind of went from there. So what I'm going to do is I'll go through here. This is something I did. I have a coach. Like, I'm a coach, and coaches hire coaches, right? And that may be a weird thing to say, but if you're a coach, you probably have 1 or 2 coaches. And this is something I put together as kind of a life map. Of course, I didn't finish up the personal stuff, the health, dating, family, all that sort of thing. But a lot of these things are business and life related. I have tracking in here, calendars, CRM. I have a linked CRM, which is an AI tool that Thomas might appreciate. And so these are all tracking things that go along with what's happening on my day. I even have a self-journal, a handwritten journal that I write down so I can kind of block out things. And I noticed that when I use these tools properly, they make my life a lot easier. I think I touched something there. And on the right, I have business. I have revenue goals. I have revenue, revenue ops. How do I work on the business? And a bunch of little things that I'm doing with my business in general. One thing, I have programs like everyone else. I have something called the LinkedIn Accelerator Program. I have a pilot program, and I have the Troy Show. And then so this is kind of some mechanisms on how we kind of build out the audience for the Troy Show. We have cold emails. We're talking about doing contests. We have warm emails. We have, of course, the panelists here and all that stuff. And then later on, we're thinking about to streamcast and maybe use one of the tools or several of the tools to kind of expand on that. What I wanted to kind of ask the panelists is that when they're working on their business model, what's the direction and what you guys are going? Because I see the Troy Show as just one channel, and how do I expand that channel into, a way to expand to more people, to help more people, and become a regular revenue stream. For example, I have a friend, Dr. A. She brings home about 100,000 a month through her streaming services. When I say Allcast, Ed, what was that software we were talking about for that was Stream? We just talked about it yesterday, buddy.
I don't remember it any more than you do.
Streamline. I don't know this name of the software, but they have softwares that allow you to stream on multiple platforms live.
StreamYard.
Right? StreamYard. That was it. And I had a meeting with someone else saying, hey, you need to actually stream it on TV, and then we have another set of people like to do podcast. It'd be great if they had one tool or one service that did all those things. Would be pretty cool. But we're doing the show. We have LinkedIn courses. Well, I have my higher end client, and then I have my clients that want to do it themselves, that need some help. And so that's kind of some of the things that I'm doing. I'm just curious, and I'll just start from my left to right. Jess, what are some of the things that you're doing, and is there any particular organization that kind of makes it a little more successful?
Oh, great question. Yeah, I do private training with people, group training, corporate training, all that fun stuff. But then we also do done for you services for the higher end folks. So we definitely do that. As far as I do have a podcast, and so I started out cheap. I used Anchor because it was free, and then recently we picked up some software that'll help distribute to some other platforms, as well as I can't remember the name of the company, but we partnered with a company that'll do national distribution of our content as well. So.
They're all podcasts, or are they different kind of formats?
This is all for podcasts, both in video and audio form.
Oh, got it. And then, do you have any particular goals on numbers or anything like that?
Right now, I think they say we're in like the top 2%, but I'd like to get in the top 0.5%, because that's where the real listenership is, the big numbers. So that's where I'd like to head. So.
That's good. I don't know what that means though, but
I don't either. So I just read the stats, but I'd like to get into, tens of thousands of downloads per episode. That's what
Oh, okay. I see. Definitely interesting. And Thomas, I know you got a lot of things going on. You kind of blurted it all out, but I didn't absorb any of it. So maybe with this visual, we can kind of go through a little slower and to give other people ideas, because a lot of us are entrepreneurs, are trying to really drive business and build relationships. Yeah.
So, I mean, how was the question centered though? Like, what kind of technologies are we using, or how are we scaling, or where would you like me to focus that? So I don't.
Well, it's kind of an open forum, and whatever you feel comfortable with. But the reason I kind of presented what I was doing first is just to give a visual of where my roadmap is, and then how I want to kind of expand and help other people. Yeah. So I just have a core principle I follow typically for anything is it's just, where do we generate revenue today, and where will we get it tomorrow? And everything we do and I do personally aligns to that. And this life map works with that, because, you have to take care of family, personal time. That's a tomorrow and today thing. So if you don't do that, none of it's going to make sense. But at the same time, you got an hour to spare. You don't go rock Fortnite for an hour, though you want to. It's a lot of fun. You get out there and you go connect with 5 more people, or you go get on another podcast. The other piece I'd say is that it's been core to growing is just giving. And so for me, the AI Nerd YouTube channel is
all about giving it back to people in technology, startups and founders. And we produce it, we promote it, we do all that stuff for anybody who's on the creating side, try to do something I'm trying to support. And so we're trying to do that. And so I think the giving piece of giving your information, giving your advice, giving your expertise out is totally fine, because if anybody can go replicate what you can do by you just giving some words and tidbits, then you either need to learn more or they're just that good. But most people are going to come to you to actually help you solve a problem if you've built trust by giving them content. And technology aside, StreamYard, whatever else, right? You still have to give, you still have to produce content, and it's got to be of value.
How much content are you producing?
A lot.
Sounds like it.
At least 1 or 2 posts a day on LinkedIn alone, plus Twitter and Instagram, and we're probably filming 4 to 8 YouTube videos a week for AI Nerd.
Wow. So LinkedIn alone, you're posting in the morning and evening, or any particular time? I know you at least have a 4 or 5 hour gap between them, but
sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
It usually we try to go 12 hours apart, 8 and 8, and that way there's different parts of the world that see it. But occasionally you get asked to promote a show, or you get asked to go do something else, so you just jump in on it and do it. But it's a lot. You try to make all of it valuable. It's just not posting a post. You actually try to share stuff that's actually of use or could add value to somebody who's reading it.
And when you're creating this stuff, are all these ideas coming directly from you, or you have a team that shares your core values, that are more like your executives, that kind of understand you very well, that can run something by you, and you're able to produce that content a lot faster?
Yeah, that's a great question. It starts with you as an entrepreneur. I have a team, and when we do this for other companies, they get a team as well. But you got to get to know you, because you're the thought leader, you're the one leading. But once you've gotten the core principles of the tonality of what you like to talk about and what's important to you, my team, at least for now, right now, they get it, and then they produce things on topic, on brand, but on topic to those core values, those core subjects. And that could be on leadership, it could be on motivation, it could be on diversity, it could be on your business, it could be on how you create content. But that's part of the process, right? Is getting to understand what it is you believe in and what adds value to your audience, and then create content around those things to chase ultimately a goal. So it all ties to a goal.
Awesome. Does anyone have anything else to add to that before we move on? It's very good information.
Just to be clear, if I had my mic muted when I was asking Thompson's question, this is a team of humans and not a team of robots, right?
That's correct. So you do need both. My expertise is in intelligent automation, where you automate business process leveraging technology for the intent of accelerating humans, not really replacing them. So as long as you have good technology, you can take a lot of the process out of it and automate. You'll need a human, in particular with content and engagement, to finish it. So it's not enough to leverage tech. I wouldn't trust it by itself. It will not get the results you want, but it will accelerate you if you know how to use it correctly.
What percentage of the tech does the work for you? Is like article writing, posting, those types of things, versus a human going in and finishing the work?
Right. It really depends on the type of content. So on, let's say, a very short post or an ad copy, AI is probably 95% of it.
Really? Wow.
If you're talking about a thought leadership article, it's maybe 5 to 10% of it, maybe a little bit more. And then if you're doing carousels or doing other just text post, it could be about 50%, but then you have visual imagery and other things you have to add in there. And that's pretty much all humans. But what you put text in those things sometimes will come from AI. It really just depends. That's why human is needed, because it's not just a cut and dry, 30% of the work's done. But even if an article only has 10% of actual content in an article, it still will accelerate you 90% in the writing. Because it'll help you organize what's trending, what's already out there, what people are talking about. So you could put your points of view against what's already kind of being discussed, and then add maybe 1 or 2 new ones. So just because it's not making it to showtime and content, it does accelerate you quite a bit on learning and organizing. And it really, what it also does is short changes the SEO. So you already know things that are trending because the AI will pick it up. And that way, if you write things similar to it, but without plagiarism and things like, those are all part of the technologies you need, right? Plagiarism, Hemingway, to check the quality of the articles. Now you're already on an SEO path without having to pay for SEO.
So the AI actually looks at similar content and allows you to produce something with your own spin on it. And then when you're doing carousel for anyone who doesn't know it, it's basically a PDF or multi-page thing. So when you upload a PDF to LinkedIn, you can treat it as a set of slides. Right. And usually what works really well between 4 and 10 slides or something like that. And you generally have one concept that's broken up between these slides that allows them to kind of easy bits of information to engage with. So yeah, that sounds awesome. So say I use AI and I say, oh, I'm following you and I'm following your content, for example. And so he's having some great content and he's talking about this. I said, well, how do I produce content that kind of counters that or adds to it? And that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, it'll do that. It'll take more context. So the AI writing tools will take context and try to create new context with it or similar context. Depends on which tool you use. And that's be a whole show on that alone, but the different ones do different things well. And you still will need a human to get in there and make sure the data is up to date. Jasper, doesn't know the last 2 years of what's happened on the internet, right? So it's so you can get some data.
Oh, it doesn't.
It may be a little bit further down the line now, but when it was called Jarvis, it was 2 years or so out from the latest trending news and things like that. So your data would be coming in old, if you'd say it that way. So that's why you need humans in the loop to kind of validate where the sources come from and make sure that it makes sense. They're not quoting, like, I've seen it quote children's books and you're like, what? That's the weirdest. I mean,
it's all about checks and balances, I would imagine.
Yeah, no doubt.
Awesome. Well, I'll go ahead back to the presentation. Yeah. So let's see here.
I think it's Catherine's turn on that question.
Oh, Catherine. Oh, I thought I went to left to right. Oh, you know what? The view switched. So, Catherine, my apologies.
Well, I didn't know if I wanted to jump in and just interrupt or not. I guess I need to be the big, bold Latina that I really am.
Yeah.
So, back to your map, definitely working on family journal. I have journals all over the place. I wake up, with my morning routine and write. It's something that I do. And, since we're talking about AI, I love AI as a stimulator to write, but I tend to process my content and my thought process through the art of writing. Mm-hmm. The physical art of writing, just to stimulate things. And then I'll move either into voice to text so that my thought process can flow a little bit. But I have played.
So you're talking about physical pen to paper.
Physical pen to paper.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
I mean, a physical pen to paper, sometimes even when I do a journal exercise, it might be looking at pictures. I do this exercise with my clients a lot. Some people have a block with journaling. They feel like it's a task for them. Mm-hmm. So, I've introduced some ideas of, let's look at some pictures on the internet. What, kind of like a vision board. What does this picture mean to you, so that they can find some inspiration in getting that writing going. But I think that is AI would be a tool for people who feel like they have a brain block for ideas to get things flowing, for sure. It definitely.
Well, I'll tell you, I have this daily journal, and if I keep consistent in writing up where I'm doing, it forces me to think, what's happening today? Who is this person? Why am I talking to them? I have this gap of time. How do I maximize that? Mm-hmm. I notice when I fill this out, I'm 3 times more efficient. And that's not even an exaggeration. So
do you write your day in the future? Like, today I'm going on Troy's show and it's going to be so great. And we're going to have so many fabulous conversations. Do you write in the future of how you want your day to roll out?
Well, this one right here is called the Self Journal. It's by Best Self Co. And they have spaces in there for things like, what are you grateful? What are your goals? Stuff like that. I don't really talk like that, but I do add some elements in there. Like, what am I doing? What am I grateful for? How was the day? How could the day have been improved at the end? And so it's not just writing down what's happening, but it allows me to mentally plan, that day and the next day. And even if I have a calendar, it says, I got a calendar, I don't need to know anything. I said, well, it's one thing to have a calendar. It's another thing to be aware, to be in the present. And what you're describing helps me to do some of that, so I'm not too lyrical on my feelings. I'm not big on feelings. I'm big on helping people, but it does help me a lot. And it, and I do have things that I'm always reminding myself, self introspection, to really just appreciate where I'm at. So that definitely helps. And then one of the questions actually have to do with what you're talking about, but we'll get to that in a bit. Any other questions or comments? So what I'll do is go back. So now I know I didn't use the PDF. It's a pain in the butt. I gotta find the button again. Here you go. So that was a life map, and it was kind of a twofer because I had to do this for my coach anyway. And I said, I'm using this as a talking point, and I even kind of wrote out what all these things meant and stuff. One thing I do for, instead of just the journals, is have a daily process. Now, some people may not have a daily process, or you may be so high up in the food chain where you delegate a lot of these things. But one thing I do with my clients is I say, hey, you have a business to run. You can't be on LinkedIn all freaking day. I can easily get 35, 45 meetings a week, but that would be insane. I literally need one major client a month. That's it. That's it, because they compound. And then we have, different revenue streams from the pilot program, from the courses and things like that. But so I don't know if you want to talk about just a bit on some of your things for your daily process, or things that you find, how do you reduce time or not? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the left to right, or my left to right. Jess, you're on my left. And do you have a daily process to reduce time? I always tell people, if you got 15 minutes or an hour, whatever it is, block it out, knock it out, and that's just my thing. How do you run your day, Jess?
Yeah, I run a LinkedIn outreach process, and basically I have a little guide here, but all my people on my team run through the same process every day. I kind of go off and do my own thing once in a while, but we typically reach out to certain people. We reach out to groups. We find commonalities. We talk a lot about finding people and things you're relatable to, so you can build relationships and build trust. If you both like the same sport team, or you both went to the same college, or you're both, whatever, try to find things in common with people if you can, so you can relate to them and have a good conversation, and have more things to talk about. So, but we definitely have a process. We go through a certain amount of, we talk to, comments we make, groups we go into, and start conversations, all those things.
Awesome. And then Thomas, how do you plan your day? Do you have methods for your clients that will reduce their time, make their life easier?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the propositions of Install is exactly that. The reduce, like me, from 30 hours a week in social media down to an hour a week. Did you say from 30 hours of work to an hour? Yeah, so I only spend about an hour a week in social media. I used to spend about 30 hours a week, all day in LinkedIn, as you described. So that's what Install solves, is that problem. And it's more than the show I'm going to do right now, but for sure. But for my personal routine to do that is, right now mine's really, it's to get up, get kids out the door, grab a coffee, and launch the day, where, it's Calendars every 25 minutes to meet new customers, new clients. And it's a get it done and meet new people and try to find ways to help each person I meet on, sometimes it's services we could do. Sometimes it's just making an introduction. Other times it's doing a video form or something, but just give all day.
Very good point, Thomas. One thing that I do when I have 15-minute slots that end up being 30 minutes, and I only have one goal. Besides to meet them and besides meeting them and getting to know them, is just to help them right then and there.
That's right. I start every meeting after we've made a little small intros with, you got 28 minutes left in this meeting. If you fast forward to the end of this meeting and you look back and go, man, that was really good use of my time. I say, what do I have to do to make that happen for you? And I lead every meeting with that. And except this one, of course, because it's your meeting. But if it was my meeting, I would have done that. But
I messed up. Oh, this is what you're saying. Okay.
You start doing it. Steal it. I think I stole it from somebody else. But the point is, I really do mean that, because that way it focuses the meeting immediately on what they want to learn or what they want to talk about. It also helps me catch up, because sometimes I have no idea why I'm meeting this person. Which is
I do a 5-minute prep when I can, if I don't the meetings don't overlap, to kind of a refresh. But yeah, definitely.
Coffee's important.
Yeah, I love the smell of coffee. The taste is like dirt water, so I don't really. I unfortunately I like Mountain Dew, which is the worst thing you can ever have, but I don't care. That's my sin for now, but oh well, I'll be okay. And Catherine, how do you organize your day? And
well, if we're just speaking about the daily process for LinkedIn, I'm a big time blocker, huge time blocker. So my day is time blocked from sometimes at 4 a.m. Primarily starting at 5:30 till 5:30. And I offload a lot of work onto my assistant for the things that have to happen every day on LinkedIn for us.
Repeatable processes. So you have an SOP, service operating procedures?
I have SOPs for everything that they do.
Awesome.
And it starts with me doing it, and I do a Loom video, and then I transcribe it with AI, and then I edit it, and then I put it in a library, and then I have a spreadsheet, and each SOP has its own link to its own document.
Yeah, awesome.
With different processes, and that's the same for my show, for my live show. Each step has a manual process in case automation breaks down, and we have to fall back to what was the process and where did it break, because there's a lot of automation on for my show. I've leaned into that a lot. And so, and with my LinkedIn daily process, of course, there's the engagement, there's the posting. I am a really big person. I'm wishing everybody in my entire network happy birthday and congratulations with a customized card, every one of them. And then that engagement starts to happen quickly sometimes.
I'm sorry, is it a digital card or you actually mail it to them?
No, it's a digital card.
Okay.
It's a digital card. And sometimes there's customized, you know the gig. Sometimes there's customized videos that go out. Every one of my connections gets a video when we first meet them. So
you're giving me ideas. A lot of people say happy birthday and send a message. You're sending a card. My thing is to do a video, to do a welcome video. Like I do welcome videos when people connect with me.
I do both.
I'm sorry? I
do both.
Oh,
I do
wow.
and then anyway, we could talk about that. I also do video before the meeting. There's an automation that kicks in, and I just open my cell phone, and before all the meetings for the day at night, I can record my looking forward to meeting you tomorrow videos. That's all through automation, and I get it on my phone, and you could just pop it up, and then you could do your homework ahead. If I was your sales manager, as you may or may not know, I have 30 years in sales. So pre-call planning is so important, so that really, is this a lead? Is this a networking call? Is this a potential collaboration call? Because every single appointment that we have in the day needs to be of some importance, for value. I believe that every conversation, there's something you can give as a servant leader, but I want to make sure that I understand what that pre-call plan is going to be. And for someone that's going to be on a sales call with me, a discovery call, there's forms they fill out. So I know ahead of time that it's going to be a
How complicated are your forms?
They're complicated.
They are?
They are. And I've had a couple of people complain, and the I want to please everybody once in me is like, oh, just don't worry about it. And then I'm like, no, because at the end, the form talks through, give me the top, what's working in your business, what's not working in the business, how, on a scale from 1 to 5, how often do you want to?
So you have a more stringent vetting process. See, because they're not going to fill the form out. They don't really need the service that bad. Right. That's what it comes down to, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then they potentially aren't coachable either, because their mind is so all over that they really haven't taken the time to think about what they need to solve their problem. And I've had compliments on the form, like, wow, that form really made me think. So that when I get them on the call, it's very strategic. So we can talk through the form, it's total sales things.
A portion of my clients are coaches, and they always tell me, yeah, we want someone that's doing well, but wants to do better. We don't want any broke people or disorganized. They're all over the place because they're not coachable. And that's exactly kind of what you're saying, that a lot of these people are coaching these high-end executives that they got the financial stuff right, or they got this portion of their life right, but they're missing that element, the element to seek happiness and get fulfillment and all that stuff. And so it's much easier to work with someone that has some kind of structure, and you can mold it into the direction that you want,
And I particularly work with women, and it's interesting, again and again and again, the women that I work with, we work on self-confidence. So it's really overcoming those self-limiting beliefs and the confidence of going live or making the sales call or putting themselves out there. It's a difference that I see over and over and over again. And being
not just women. Oh yeah, everyone goes through that at some point, and it's almost like an imposter syndrome, where they think, and sometimes you just gotta go out there and just do it. I'm not the clearest person in the world, but I think I have enough people that like me because they're like, oh, that guy's actually a real person. He's not pretending to be someone else. And I think people grasp on that level of being genuine, yes. And you're just bringing the genuine out of that individual and out on stage.
People need more authenticity. The world needs more authenticity, right? We already have a Kardashian clan, and that's somebody this and there's somebody that. Like, they need to see themselves in you. They need your authenticity. They need your vulnerability. They need to hear what you did to get to where you are today, so that they feel that it can be accomplished, and they don't feel like, oh, Jess did 200 books. I'll never be like that. I'll never be able to do that. I can't. AI, it's overwhelming. The tech is too overwhelming. So it's interesting. Sometimes we overcomplicate a lot of things instead of just taking that first step. Forget about the tech. I don't care which tech you use, just do it.
When I bring a client on, typically the first thing we revisit is the profile. And it's not just SEO for Google and LinkedIn, but it's branding, it's a lot of visual, and it's the story. That story is so important. And that's when people, they say that LinkedIn is 70% visual. And they said, well, why am I going to spend all my time on the story? I said, because that's where your buyers are at. Those are the ones that find you interesting first and get past the visual. So, okay, let me just dig a little deeper into his about section and some of the things he's doing. That's an opportunity to be authentic. And just what you said, I'm able to see myself in that person, an aspect of myself I can relate to that person. So being authentic doesn't just include meetings, it includes your entire presence, But
it goes back to the cliche, and I know everybody should just go off. It's a free for all now. But the know, like, and trust factor, it to be cliche. How can someone really know you unless they understand some of those stories that made you who you are today? Otherwise, you're just a regurgitated post on LinkedIn without a story that helps them emotionally connect to you. And that's our goal, right? For engagement, is an emotional connection.
Yeah. And I also think 80% of the decisions to do business is all emotionally based. It's like, you can have all the facts in the world, like, faxing me to death, I kind of like this person, and I think this person would do things the right way or help me out, help me get where I need to go. I always say it's a litmus test. That little litmus thing that you check for the acidic thing. I don't know if everyone knows what that is or not. The litmus test that I tell my clients is, would this person go out and have a drink with you? Like, really, would they? Because if they would, you're in a good spot. Because during, COVID times and all this other stuff, you don't want to hang out with a creep, or you don't want to hang out with someone who's going to waste your time, because you're going to spill the beans. You're going to have a couple of drinks and spill the beans. You say, hey, I'm have this going on. And so that's a level of trust, and that I try to push out to some of my clients, because I said, if they don't like you, they're just not going to work with you unless they have to,
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, so I have a daily process, and I give it out, and clients or non-clients can pick what makes sense for them that day. And it's all about reducing time and again, being authentic on that stuff. And so I think these 3 areas, we pretty much covered this, and we'll kind of move on from it. But there's lots of different things that go together. But I always feel like in my mind is, on the left, we have all this content stuff that Thomas is talking about, right? And on the right, we have the outreach, which I'm sure Jess has a lot of systems that do the outreach. And then we have the etiquette and passion, which, Catherine, is really what you're talking about. And if you have the ability, and some things could be bigger and smaller, whatever works for you. But I feel like these are the main 3 elements that allow you to have your unique kind of selling point, I don't even know I don't think unique selling point is the right word. I just couldn't come up with a better word, but you kind of want to be in the middle, and so they just don't check off boxes. They see you kind of in the omnipresence. They think about you. They see you on LinkedIn. People are talking about you. They may see an email or a message go out, or a video, whatever it is, and you're always top of mind. And it's always pleasant thoughts. So that's kind of why I put this together. I don't know if we want to touch base on this at all, but I think I'm kicking a dead horse, but I'll move on from this unless we have something to talk about. I guess we won't, because there's more information. I forgot I did this slide.
But wait.
There's more. So under etiquette and passion, that includes like physical things like networking, going on some of these, these Zooms that are a lot of people on there, physical networking. That's one big thing that I enjoy that I haven't been, we haven't been able to do as often. And then always coming from a place of service. I got that from Jean-Michel. Did he drop off? Is he still on? Because I haven't heard a word from him. Usually he'll butt in right about now. So
I try, but you just chatty. You're not letting anyone else talk.
I do talk a lot. So usually you chime in when I say coming from the place of service, because I got that line from you, Jean-Michel. Okay, we'll move on. So we got content, and content includes posts and articles. Things that actually provide value, what Tom was talking about. What's interest, and how can you have some, not just counter arguments, also additional information that kind of launches off other ideas, engaging with the response, and it's all, Thomas talking about all strategy driven. Outreach are things like emails, commenting on actual posts, email lists, creating, sending video funnels or video mail, LinkedIn direct messages and stuff like that. So that's pretty much all I have for the presentation portion. But Ed, we have a lot of questions for the panelists, don't we?
There it is. My mic is on now. We do have a few. We don't have much time, so it's going to have to be speed answers to these questions. Let's see. Let's get to them.
Sorry, that was my fault. Totally.
I'll renew this just in case there are any new questions. You said there was 9 questions. Oh, there we are. Okay, I didn't see all of them before, but now I see them all. So let's go through here. What's the best way for solopreneurs to engage with major corporations on LinkedIn without seeming too salesy? Don't everyone answer
free for all. Go ahead.
Go give. Go comment on their posts. add value to the things they're putting out there, be thoughtful with it, ask questions, drive engagement, don't ask for anything. And maybe after you've done that a dozen times, then thank them for all the stuff they've done and say, hey, would you have 15 minutes just to meet you? That's it.
I agree.
I do too. Like, we're talking authenticity, you know, maybe you're in the restaurant business or something, and like, oh my gosh, you made it through the pandemic. I see, you know, your Yelp reviews are coming up. Congratulations. If I was in your city, I'd want to eat there, or something, you know, just something really showing them that you took the time to look. Maybe they were in the news recently, or that also is a note to make in case you see a problem that you can solve in the future, to stick that in your pocket and come back to it later. But that servant leadership of complimentary.
I like to also reach out to multiple people at the same company. So if I'm targeting a specific company, I like to target the ideal person, the person that's one rank ahead of him and one that's below them. And basically make sure I'm making contact with all three, sending them messages, building trust, adding value. Like you said, not necessarily asking for anything, but letting them know you exist. And then when it's time, you can track down, you know, have the person move it up. And if that doesn't work, then you go above them and bring it down. And eventually, a lot of times you can get that conversation.
You know, I was told that if you have an ask, the ask should be equal to the relationship. You know, if you just met, you know, you can't really ask for much. But if you do what Thomas was saying, that where I'm constantly engaging in their posts and they're actually replying, you're building a rapport, you know. Ed, question number 2.
How can we increase our followers on LinkedIn?
The question is how to increase followers on LinkedIn?
Yeah, how can we increase our followers on LinkedIn?
Maybe a better question would be, how can we accelerate how we increase followers on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
I think LinkedIn helped a little bit with that, with the way they changed a follow versus a connection, right? So I think we've seen our follows go up. To be very honest, I haven't concentrated on specifically looking for followers. It's organically happened. And that's through consistently showing up, consistently posting, consistently having my show, consistently contributing to other people's, everything we're talking about. Just being there and being visible and providing quality information that's relevant, where you don't ask, you actually find out what the problems are that you might be solving.
Catherine, there seems to be a theme there, like consistency. I think I heard that more than once. I think a lot of people have a problem with consistency, but I think even if you're not doing, well, no one really does perfect action, but any action, and then doing that action consistently will get you where you want to be eventually. Strategy
helps with that, right?
Unless you can leverage your time and efforts like Thomas does.
Yeah.
That's the hack to go fast. That's for sure. In an
I
organic
can't wait for Thomas's next webinar. Let's talk.
Next year,
go fast. That's the name of it. Hack to go fast.
Hack to go fast.
You need a lot of good content. You need an opinion, and you shouldn't polarize. I'll tell you, those are the big things. So you may really feel strongly about a polarizing topic, be it politics to vaccines. Just don't. Unless it's part of your revenue goal structure, because you just cut off half your audience and the other half doesn't want to get in probably too. So be smart about how you post and what you post. Actually do things that are eclectic. So ask people when they started to work. I did that poll. It was 540,000 views, 22,000 votes, and I gained 10,000 followers that day. So, and it's only because of something people liked. And so you don't always have to we all over people. We do this, we do that. No one wants to get weed on, or very few people want to get weed on. And talk about things that matter, that's going on, and have a real opinion on it, or at least ask questions if you can't formulate your own. And that will get people to be interactive with you and actually want to read what you put up there. That'll accelerate it for sure.
Imagine that you having a lot of followers help you in part of the acceleration process of people being aware.
People will tend to follow people who have more followers. That's a standard That's just a phenomenon, or it is. But if you're over 20,000, 30,000 followers, you'll certainly get followed more often. But to get to there or anything else, I mean, are all 165,000 or so good? I don't know. Would I rather have 30,000 of the absolute premium, perfect candidate for me? Yeah. But it doesn't work that way. So you just try to, cater to as much as you can. So be consistent, have an opinion, make it count.
Yeah, I certainly would encourage people to follow Thomas and look at his posts and learn things from him, because he's clearly doing things right.
Definitely. Yeah. I think question number 3 is kind of the same thing. So number 4 is, what is it, Ed? How can we be sought after? How can we be a sought after brand on LinkedIn? And I think we sort of answered that. Being authentic, having a level of consistency.
I want to just say something to Thomas's point, but since I deal with solopreneurs on a smaller level, while you don't want to be polarizing, you still need, as a personal brand, a company that's built off your personal brand, you've got to stand for something. And you've got to stand against something. You can't just be this middle of the road. And showing that what you stand for and against will create a following as well. I would rather have 30,000 people that I polarize than. Now I won't talk about religion or politics on LinkedIn, but I want people to know what I stand for. It's my passion. I don't want to have that leans into my authenticity. I don't want to have to tiptoe around the fact that, I support women in sales, or
that goes along with being authentic.
Yes.
Yeah. That goes along with being authentic. I agree with you.
I wouldn't call that polarizing. Yeah, at all. I would call that like right on point. I call that your competitive advantage. I'll tell you one thing that I do talk about, which is diversity as a business strategy. That is somewhat of a polarizing topic to some people, but I don't care about the other half that really can't see the diversity.
That's my point.
Yes. And so, it's one thing to side on politics. It's another to say, no, there's really be a good person. and if you're not a good person, then I'm okay with that half not caring. But that is right on point strategy. You absolutely should be doing exactly that. Have an opinion on your business and what you add in value. No question.
Jess, did you want to add anything to that?
I don't know. I like to tick people off sometimes, so I guess I'm a little bit bad in that way. But I did jump on the politics bandwagon a few times and different things, like with posts and stuff like that, and turned off a few people. But ultimately, there's the follow. You can build relationships within. So doing your likes and commenting to certain people that you're targeting. Sending them messages through Messenger, building relationships there. So that's more on the connection side. But when I first started, there was no video and different stuff like that, and so it was all just manually sending messages to people, meeting people, saying hi to people, commenting on their posts, building engagement with them within the post. And once you have great content, you want to interact within that content, because every time there's a like, every time there's a comment, every time there's an influencer jumps on your post that you've tagged or whatever, all those things are in the algorithm that help boost that post so that it's seen more by more people. And that's another way to gain more followers, is by making those posts kind of gain some virality as well. So,
that Jean-Michel has a hard stop at 3:00, and not to hold you up, Jean-Michel, do you want to come on and anything before you head out?
Yeah, I'm so sorry I have to go. I mean, I'd love to have another hour with our amazing panelists today. It's so much to talk about, and next time we need to make sure Troy doesn't say anything at all, so there's more time for everybody else. But thank you so much, Catherine, Thomas, and Jess. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you can stay a little longer. I have a big client I have to talk to now, so I need to pull out, but we appreciate you coming on board today. Thank you.
As you can see, the 3 hosts tease Troy a lot, but we love Troy. He's a good guy. He put together this at the last minute. The format was something he wasn't familiar with, so he had to get up to speed pretty quick. And I think he's done a really good job.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Do we have any other questions, Ed?
Actually, the last three come from you, so I thought that you would ask those questions.
Yeah, I was filling in the gaps and stuff like that. What do you guys think about the creator mode? Jess is like, yeah. I mean, what does that mean, Jess? It's cool.
I think it looks cool. It's kind of cool. And then I like the little video intro. Mine's a little quirky and goofy, whatever. But I get a lot of people that say, "Hey, I saw your little video, and you had some cool special effects in your videos or whatever." And it's just a conversation starter. It's ultimately it doesn't make much difference probably, but it does allow people to kind of get my quirky personality a little bit and kind of know what they're heading into.
Couple little cool little features. One thing I noticed, I just switched it yesterday, and one thing I noticed is, what it will probably do is buffer all the people sending connection requests to me, because unless they dig in there and really want to connect with me. So it kind of forces you a little bit to get to know the person before you just start connecting with people. And it allows you to have this newsletter feature, and it gives you LinkedIn Live. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, gives you that too. So we may be integrating that. I don't know if anyone has any comments on the creator mode or not.
I jumped on the bandwagon early. I like, Jess's brand is showing through with his comments, right? With it, and so people, since we're in such a virtual world, to see your mannerisms and what makes you different and what is magnetizing that creator mode allows you to show that bit of personality. If you're going to use it to show your personality. Don't just do this boring elevator pitch. They can see that somewhere else. But yeah, I like that part of it. LinkedIn Live, is something that everyone has now. I remember applying for it and I kept reaching out. Is it approved yet? Is it approved yet? Is it approved yet? And back to I use Restream for my show.
Is that better than the other one?
I don't know. It's what I use. Like I said, it's just, I try to not get stuck and paralyzed in which technology I'm just going to choose. I just choose one and then go all in with it. So don't even squirrel me with another one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That should have been a Thomas question. Your software guy here. I was a software developer, by the way, prior to that. So I'm always into like features and what makes my life kind of easier, What other questions did I have? Let's see. This one's really for Jess. You concentrate in joint ventures and things of that nature. What kind of joint ventures seem to be most helpful in your business?
B2B is obviously huge on LinkedIn, so that's what we focus on. But kind of how it started is literally meeting so many people, and I'm sure Thomas probably is on the same board here. But you talk to so many people, you start hearing this person does this person does that, and I just started going, hey, this person A has this product or service that would benefit person B, and then I just put them together and do an introduction.
Oh.
And then over time, that kind of morphed into, well, gosh, I could, facilitate some sort of, deal in between and make some money doing this too. So
during your connection process or helping people, you were connecting the dots.
Yeah. So like a CEO of a major Fortune 500 company will tell me that they have this X need on a conversation one day, and then I talk to this other guy and he's probably has the right solution. And I say, well, why don't you guys talk? And then we put a little piece of paper in between that says, hey, if there's some money generated, you'd be happy to tip me, type thing. It's kind of, it's kind of casual to start with, but then, eventually, I think it's David Meltzer that talks about it's kind of like a gentleman's agreement contract or whatever. Basically, just hey, if you put the right people together in front of you, that. And then I started doing it for service. People came to me and said, hey, I need to get a hold of, a solar company to do XYZ panels or something, and then I would say, oh, I know a couple solar people, and then start having conversations.
It's the same thing when I'm having a meeting. I just want to help them. And then if you can help yourself at the same time, why not? I mean, that's just, being smart about it. So I think that's all. I'm sorry.
That's good rapport too. Like when you
Yeah.
talk about adding value to people, if you proactively are out searching for the other person that's going to benefit the other person you've already talked to, then you introduce those two people and then they both love you.
Oh yeah, not only do they both love you, they will look out. They'll look out after you, you know. And when that like, love, and that trust factor is really built up, because then you end up being the go-to person. You know, they want to work with people they can actually work with. You know, I have a funny story. That's how I roped in Jean-Michel in this program. I said, "Hey, I'm having problems with my profile." And he was like, "Why do you have problems with your profile, Troy? you're a LinkedIn influencer. Why have?" I said, "Well, I just need another pair of eyes on it. Can we have a meeting on it?" And I recorded that and I chopped it up in 7 videos, and he got a couple clients out of it. He said, "Why'd you do that?" I said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Keep the clients and stuff. It's cool." I said, "Do you think this will make a good course?" He said, "Yeah, it would." I said, "You want to talk about it on the choice?" He says, "Yeah, let's do it." And it just kind of worked out. Although I was being a little sneaky, it was for his benefit, you know. So I don't feel bad about being sneaky, but I think it benefits him, it benefits me. So having a relationship that everyone kind of works together, you're stronger together, you know. Then it's really hard doing this by yourself. Well, there was a question by Lizette, and she's asking about the recording. The recording, we'll have a YouTube channel. So if you can, just shoot me a note on LinkedIn and I'll send you the exact link once it's up there. Let me see if I got anything else. And that's all the questions I have. Does anyone have any other comments? I know that we dropped down on the audience, and I do appreciate everyone's patience. I kind of talked too long. Jean-Michel was right. I kind of talked too long, but it's a really good show. Do we have any?
I'm going to ask a question as if I was in the audience.
Okay.
And it's to all of you, all y'all. And people feel they need to grow their audience. They feel they need to not so much a vanity metric, but I'm wondering at what level of your overall audience, right? I have a reach of about 30,000 on all mediums. At about what level did you feel you could your work, all the work that you've done with being visible on different platforms, where did you feel the biggest return on your time investment? At about what number of growing your audience?
Is that for us or the audience?
No, it's for you guys.
Oh. Well, I kind of feel that I would agree. This answer was already answered by Thomas, if I remember correctly. He said between 20,000 and 50,000 followers, you start seeing some of that retention. I'm at 20,000 right now, and I don't really try to grow my audience too quickly. Just like you said, a lot of organic stuff. But now I'm seeing some traction. When I first started seeing it was probably around 15. So I think my comfort level would be between 30 and 50,000 followers. That I would feel a little more confident in that. You know, I don't know, I'm making this up. So
it's an honest question. Anyone else have feedback on? Anyone else?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I started having, kind of celebrity type people reaching out to me, when I was in the 25 range, I think. Started noticing more of the higher ups would reach out to me themselves versus me having to hunt them down, which has kind of been the pattern most of my LinkedIn career. So that's kind of nice having that more of that incoming traffic. So.
Yeah, I would say once you cross 30,000 and then approached by Influencer Active to join their B2B influencer, that's a step. And then, having the giving platform. So, I give the Swiss Cognitive AI Journal and the show, whatever else you like to do, and I'll give you content left and right for your blogs if you want them. You just got to ask. And when you do that, then I'm inundated with inbound counties for all kinds of things, right? And so you have to sort it out. But after 30, but what I tell people always is it's what you do with the space between, and it doesn't do any good to have all these followers and not give anything back. So as soon as you stop giving, you might as well have zero. The moment that I just start asking for things out there more and more and more, or I don't start, I could be asking for things, but solving problems. What I mean by that is you can have a promotional post about your content or your services or product, But if you're doing it in a way that's answering the problem that they have, you're not just you're giving still. So if you just say, hey, follow me and buy my stuff, effectively, you're not going to get anywhere with any set of followers. But at around 30,000, answer your question about where you are now is it'll start breaking through for you. If you're having a very a more elaborate form to get through, you'll need more followers that are high quality, because a lot of people won't just take the effort. So because we used to have a much more complex form.
Well, that's not with that's just if they're clearly it says if you want to be a client. Yeah. But as far as just getting on my calendar, yes.
Oh, okay. Because we did
not every person.
We did an elaborate one, and it just, we got bad negative feedback. So I went back to name, email. I'll sort it off from there.
Well, I do believe in a vetting process. Even my 15 minutes, they have to answer like 4 or 5 questions. Yeah, I gotta know. If you can't answer 4 or 5 questions, you don't need to talk to me.
You say that, but then you take people like me of extreme ADD and attention problems as it is. But I really do one time, I'm like, 4 questions, too much work. I won't do it.
Oh yeah, but we had a phone, but we did have a phone call, right? And you're like, Troy, okay, yes, I'll do it. I can do this in 15 minutes ahead of time, So you have a communication strategy, So not everyone is going,
No one leaves voicemails like, this must be important.
No,
I was like,
that's right.
That's what got you, right? Old school voicemail on the phone.
I was like,
who leaves voicemails? Me? I leave voice. I'm thinking about getting a fax machine. Really screw people.
Do it. You get sued. Don't fax people. There's a law with that. You can gets really expensive fast.
Okay, I won't fax.
It's like $1,500 a page if you send an unsolicited fax to somebody.
Is that in which country?
U.S.
Well, that should work the same way with these freaking calls, right? You get all these like unlisted numbers and stuff. They're calling you about services.
I'll derail any meeting if you let me. I can derail any meeting possible. All right, I'm going to offer anybody who wants to come on the AI Nerd channel that's sitting on this panel up there. You are more than welcome to. I will promote you, produce the video. Please come on, talk about what you do in shameless plug fashion. Absolutely would love to have you. Guys are awesome. It's been a very fun panel to come on. Thank you. By the way, for the voicemail.
Yeah. Oh, for the voicemail. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we're gonna wrap this up. Ed, do you have anything else that you want to talk about? Because I just realized I'm 17 minutes late on my last meeting, on my next meeting.
Oh, wow.
I text him while we're talking. I'm like, other meeting. So.
No, I really enjoyed the panel discussion. I'm going to reach out to, if I haven't connected with the 3 of you, I'm going to reach out and connect with you. And I hope I can have individual discussions with each one of you. I think there's some business that could be had between each of us.
Awesome.
Yes, and I have a live show as well. So please come on to my show, or if you want to teach a workshop.
You could jump on my podcast too.
Yes.
Oh,
right.
Offers. Look, Troy is
going
on
here.
All over that.
Collaboration.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll close this out. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Guys, thank you.